little older too. Well, I should get class started. I forgot I'm sitting here talking to you, and I forgot to press the start button. So I've got that started, so we can accept other students now. Let me just get the Google Hangouts section ready. I don't know if you've noticed, but I haven't been around much lately.
No, well, because of your surgery now, maybe.
Yeah. I had a class, I think, on Monday, but even then it still hurt to sit.
I know, yeah. I know what was the surgery about right now.
Yeah. So if you see me get up and move around, it's because it's still bothering me, but I think, well, I'm hoping I can sit down the entire class. If not, I'll just go upstairs and I'll continue the class from upstairs, but it shouldn't get in the way.
From another computer, maybe?
I know, use the same computer. It's a laptop, so I can move it around.
Oh, yeah. 'Cause you like to change your computers and show us two different cameras.
Well, I tried that a few weeks ago. Unfortunately, though, that disconnected me from the server, and they didn't think I was teaching.
Really?
Yeah. So
That's
I told them, and they said okay. And well, you can see the class, right? You can see that I was teaching. It's just it disconnected from the server.
okay, I got it.
All right, so the article is good to go. All right, so that's ready. All right, so we can just talk a little bit. So what is the weather like right now? Is it still cooling off? You obviously don't have any snow right now.
No, not at all. I wish.
Yeah, I don't wish. I don't like snow.
No, the weather is pretty sunny, pretty cloudy, a little maybe. It's maybe 22 centigrades.
That's perfect.
Well, I don't like it. It's a little bit warm, a little bit hot.
What do you prefer for temperature?
10 to 15.
Yeah, I kind of like that too. Although, you know what? I don't mind 21 during the day.
21, yeah. Yeah, it really depends on where you are. If
Well,
you're in
here,
the...
I think it's been really cool lately, warmer than that, but right now it's about 75 degrees, and that's a little cool for this time of year, but it's pleasant.
75, that's gonna be 20?
Well, no, I think it's more like 22, 23.
Well, that's cool. Not too much cold, not too much hot.
Oh, who just joined us? Hello, Hyde.
Hello, nice to see you again.
Good to see you too.
My computer is very bad now. Maybe a hot temperature caused my computer getting crazy.
Really? Why would the hot temperature do that?
Over my body temperature. Now still okay, but daytime around 40 degrees Celsius.
Ooh.
Then I touch my computer in daytime, it's very hot.
Yeah, maybe you need to have that looked at.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're talking about temperature, we're talking about heat, and we're mostly talking about climate right now.
Oh.
But that's not what our article is going to be about today. We're going to be talking, well, let me show you. Let's see.
40 degrees. That's too hot.
Yeah, it is very hot. So I will have an article shared out. Actually, it is shared out already. So this is just my view of the screen. So it's an article about, well, I guess it's a little bit about politics. So if you guys want to open Google
Drive, right?
Thank you. I'm losing words. Me, speak, cannot. There we go. That's my screen's better now. I can't do more than one thing at the same time without just kind of losing contact. All right, well, let's go ahead and get started, guys. I don't know what's happening lately. I don't seem to have as many students in the class. I don't know if they've added more teachers or what, or summer, who knows. But in the last couple of weeks, since the World Cup, numbers have dropped off. So, Daniel, why don't you start out by reading the title and the first paragraph, please?
Okay. Putin meets Cuba's Castro brothers to open Latin American tour. Havana, CNN. In a scene out of the Cold War, Cuban President Raúl Castro and ailing brother Fidel met with the current leader of the communist island's longtime economic benefactor. The state press reported Saturday.
Communist.
Communist.
Okay, thank you.
What did
Hi,
I say?
next. Sorry, what is communist?
Oh, no, what did I say?
It wasn't quite communist. You kind of stuttered a bit, so I thought it'd be good to just focus on that word.
Thank you.
Welcome. Hyde.
During a day-long visit in Friday, Russian President Vladimir Putin and his counterparts signed a slew of agreements expanding cooperation between the two countries.
Signed.
Signed.
Cooperation.
Cooperation.
Excellent, thank you. Adriana, hello. All right, well, Daniel, could you read the next paragraph again, please?
Okay. Putin also visited with Fidel Castro at his home outside Havana. Pictures released in Cuban state media show the man standing and smiling, with Putin placing his hand on Castro's arm.
Okay, Putin.
Putin
is actually, I wouldn't call it a dish. It's in English, it's actually a word used to describe French fries with gravy and I think some sort of cheese on top. So quite different. But Putin is the Russian leader.
It's like unbiased at the end. No?
Yeah, you know, it's slight differences in some words can get you in trouble.
Yeah, like a Putin.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it.
Hi, next paragraph, please.
Castro was sidelined in 2006 by a mysterious gastrointestinal illness and no longer holds official duties, but he still regularly greets the head of state.
Heads. Illness. Excellent. All right, Adriana, are you with us now?
Yes.
There you go. Could you go into Google Drive, please?
Okay, let me, oh my God.
But in the meantime, I'm going to copy the first paragraph. No, that's not the first paragraph. I'm going to copy the paragraph into group chat. Could you read that for me, please?
Okay. Okay. Cuba was the first stop on Putin's Latin American tour, which will take him to Argentina and Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, for the World Cup final game on Sunday. Russia is set to host the next World Cup in 2018.
Thank you. Putin's.
Putin? What?
Putin's.
Putin's.
Yeah, he's the Russian president. All right, very good. Thank you. Next two paragraphs, Daniel.
Okay. On Saturday, Argentina President Cristina Kirchner tweeted a picture of her shaking hands with Putin. Argentina is Russia's main strategic partner in Latin America. The United Nations and the G20 group. Putin said hours before departing for his trip to Latin America, according to the Telam news agency of Argentina.
Strategic.
Strategic.
Thank you. Hyde, next paragraph.
In an interview with the Cuban news agency Prensa Latina, Putin said that Latin American nations that struggled for their independence inspire our deepest respect for their autonomy and their right to self-determination.
Thank you. Adriana, I need to make sure you're in Google Drive. You will read the next paragraph, but I'm going to close my door. Hold on a second.
Thank you.
That's better. Okay, Adriana, are you in Google Drive?
Yes.
Okay, if you could read the next paragraph, please.
Where should I start?
Are you not following along?
No, not yet.
No, you
I
need
just saw the document.
Yeah, so look for a paragraph that's highlighted and that's bold. Starting with today. Okay, I'm going to have to move on, Adriana. Just try to follow where we are.
Okay.
Daniel, if you could read the paragraph, please.
Okay, me, Daniel?
Yes.
Okay. Today, cooperation with Latin American nations is one of the key orientations and prospects of Russian foreign policy. Putin told Prensa Latina, multilateralism in world affairs respect to international law, a strengthening of the central role of the United Nations, and sustainable development are the principles that bring us together.
Excellent, thank you. Adriana, have you found where we are yet?
Not yet.
All right, well, I'm going to leave you to looking for it. Just so you know, this is our next paragraph, so why don't you do a search and see if you can't find it, okay?
Yeah.
All right. Hyde, next paragraph, please.
Last week, Russian officials agreed to forgive 90% of the more than $30 billion Cuba still owed Russia. The remaining $3.5 billion will be paid back over a space of 10 years and reinvested in Cuba.
Go ahead and read the next one. It's just a small one.
Cuba or Cuba?
Cuba.
Sometimes I hear Cuba. So.
Well, it's not correct. In English, it is Cuba.
Okay.
I don't know how it's pronounced in other languages, and that might be correct, but in English, it is Cuba.
In Spanish is Cuba, yeah.
Okay, I found it.
Excellent. So you see these two short paragraphs?
Yeah.
If you could read those, please.
It's a great sign of generosity of Russia towards Cuba, Raúl Castro said in video released of the agreement signing with Putin. The two countries announced they also would cooperate more closely on energy, security, and health matters.
Excellent. Well done, Adriana. Go ahead and read the next one since you haven't read much so far.
The head of the Russian oil drilling consortium, Rosneft, accompanied Putin on the trip, and Cuban officials announced that the firm would help them explore for oil off the island's northern Coast.
Northern coast.
Northern coast.
Explore.
Explore.
Accompanied.
Accompanied.
Consortium.
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 Good. It's kind of like this. Consortium.
Consortium.
Excellent. Head.
Consortium. Oh, okay.
Head.
Had.
Head. Ed.
A head.
Okay, say ed.
Ed.
Now put the H in front, you have head.
Ed.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Daniel, next paragraph, please.
Okay. Several international companies have drilled for a massive reserve of oil. Cuban officials believe lies about 50 miles off their shores, but so far all have come up dry.
Hyde, next paragraph, please.
Cuba and Russia once enjoyed one of the firmest Cold War alliances, but that special relationship between ended abruptly with the collapse of the Soviet bloc at the start of the 1990s.
Thank you. Alliances.
Alliances.
Excellent. You just forgot the S.
I'm sorry.
Adriana, next paragraph, please. Adriana, next paragraph, please.
We are, yes?
No, the loss of supplies.
Okay, wait a minute. Oh my gosh, this is very slow. My goodness.
Okay. You got to follow along with us because it's not about just reading your paragraph. It's about paying attention to what other students are saying because we're going to have a discussion at the end.
Okay, sorry. So is the loss?
Yeah, the loss of supplies. Could you start that paragraph, please?
Okay, the loss of supplies from oil-rich Russia, along with the end of favorable trade and aid that once propped up Cuba's ailing economy, plunged Cuba into a severe economic crisis.
Okay, good. Propped.
Propped.
Excellent. Daniel, next two paragraphs, please.
Okay. In an interview published in the Cuban Communist Party newspaper, Grandma on Friday, Putin promised a new era of closer relations with Cuba. We are disposed to recover lost possibilities, Putin said.
Putin, yep. Thank
Yeah,
you.
Putin.
Hyde, next two paragraphs, please.
Following the crisis in Ukraine, Russian officials said they were looking to establish new naval bases in a handful of countries, including Cuba. While Cuban officials have said little about the Russian overtures, they have several times allowed Russian spy ship to dock and resupply in Havana's port.
Okay, good. Officials.
Officials
Following.
following.
Good, Hyde. Yeah, the biggest problem you have, Hyde, is just sometimes you're not as clear with your consonants, but you are very skilled. Well done. Adriana, next paragraph, please.
It remains to be seen how significantly The two countries can aid one another as both Cuba and Russia deal with flagging economies and the impacts of U.S. trade
Sanctions.
sanctions.
Okay, great. Daniel, next paragraph, please.
Uh-huh. They're looking at ways to rebuild the relationship, but it's not that easy anymore, said Mark Frank, author of the book Cuban Revelations. Russia is no longer the Soviet Union while Cuba is still a Cuba. It's a communist country while Russia really is not.
Excellent point. Yes, Union, Soviet Union.
Soviet Union.
Excellent. Hyde, next paragraph, please.
According to Grandma, Fidel Castro discussed with Putin his research into growing food in tropical and subtropical climates as a way to fight the effect of global warming.
Okay, global warming.
Global warming.
Okay. Adriana, next paragraph, please.
Many Cubans said they remembered the relative economic security that the alliance with the Soviet Union brought and welcomed a renewed Russian presence on the island.
Alliance.
Alliance.
Thank you, Daniel.
The child of a Cuban father and Russian mother, Andrei Shevchu, I don't know, in 2013 opened the Havana restaurant Tabarich, which serves Russian food and is filled with mementos of Soviet era in Cuba.
Yeah, the Soviet era in
Soviet
Cuba.
era in Cuba. Era, okay.
You're welcome. Hyde, next paragraph, please.
One country is cold, the other is hot. We have different food, different ways of thinking, he said, but we found common ground because we lived through historic time together.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for reading that story with me. I wasn't sure what we were going to read today until about 2 hours ago when I was looking at CNN and this article came up. Well, let's talk about this article. What is this article about? Who would like to start us off? What is this story about?
This is about Russian President Vladimir Putin. Yeah, before he was kicked out from G8, then he is now looking for some alliance. Then he traveled the South American countries. Then he approached to Brazil or some countries to have contract alliance. Then they had some speech in maybe 2 weeks ago, but just after that, the Malaysian airplane shutdown happened. So now Putin is a very difficult position. I'm sorry, it's not in this article.
It is true, but so why is Putin in a difficult?
Because Malaysian airplane, normal commercial airplane was shut down. It
Yes.
caused Russian Russian, I forgot the name, kind of missile. Putin sent his missile from Russia to the pro-Russian group in Ukraine.
Now, do we know that it was actually Putin or Putin and his military that shot it down, or could it have been somebody else? Right?
Yeah.
So, do we know for sure that it was Putin That
Yeah,
he is responsible, or could it have been some other
yeah,
country?
he's responsible. Um,
Okay.
this article is a little old. After that, it happened. Then he had in the interview
Yeah.
with other president in Brazil or some countries. That time he was very glad. That after that it happened. Then he appeared on TV. His face was very dark.
Okay, good. Thank you. Sorry, guys, I'm moving around, but my sitting, I made it about 25 minutes before my back started to bother me, so I'm upstairs now. Oof, I'm out of breath, too. Daniel, what else can you tell us about this story?
Well, I'm not too much familiarized with the with the situation there, but the article said that Putin is kind of in a trip, was in trip here in Latin America, in
Mm-hmm.
Argentina, Rio de Janeiro, also Cuba. Cuba was the first stop of his Latin America tour.
Yep.
Argentina too, and also the article did mention something about the debt between Russia and Cuba for about 30 billions, I think. But they are gonna forgive almost everything, all the money. I don't know why, but
Well,
that's cool.
Is Argentina not in trouble? Did they just default on some debt?
No, no, no. The debt is between Cuba and Russia.
Oh, Cuba and Russia.
Yeah,
Well,
30 billion. Yeah.
you got to be really excited if you're Cuban and you hear that message, right?
Yeah, of course.
Now that's got to. I think that would be really, really awesome news.
Yeah, but I don't know why. Maybe.
Well, I don't know either. I mean, obviously Cuba's an ally of Russia, and there's a lot of history between those two countries in the last, well, since the Cold War, right? Or during the Cold War.
Hmm. And the communism.
Yeah. All right, Adriana, what else can you tell us about this story?
Well, actually, as I as I didn't read since the beginning, and then I was doing something else that was necessary. I don't know. I'm sorry.
Well, what can you tell us? You did read, you joined us part way through. What do you recall?
Well, well that well Russia is gonna be the next host for the World Cup.
Well, that's important, isn't it?
Yeah, but something else. It's like they were having like a good relationship, and then maybe some people don't like that.
Well, who wouldn't like Russia and Cuba getting along? Who would have a
US,
problem with it?
as always, US.
Maybe. It could be. I haven't heard anything, so I don't know. Um, Daniel, what do you think? Do you think the U.S. would be upset over this tour with Russia?
Well, maybe. I'm not sure. You know, for example, here in my country, there is a process around kind of process in the Havana, Cuba. In this moment, they are talking about how to finish the war, the internal war here in my country. And you know what? I'm not with Russia. I'm not with Cuba. I'm with the United States, I think.
Okay,
Yeah.
excellent. Hyde, anything else?
Hmm. Maybe G7 is angry, frustrated from this news.
Could be. Now, I happen to live in Canada, and I don't really see this as negative news. Now, if Russia's forgiving debt, then, well, that's a good thing, right? I think that's beneficial. It's also not the 1970s anymore, and there is no Cold War. Um, I really don't see Russia building alliances as a negative thing.
But G7 already we have a sanction to the Russia. Then after Malaysian airplane, maybe we need to have some additional sanction against Russia.
Okay, so this is more about how Russia's been behaving lately, or the perceptions of how, or the actions of Russia.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you think that Russia is trying to create alliances to build trade, to circumvent the sanctions?
I'm not sure, but Putin wants to increase several countries for his side. Any country is okay. Even the country it has some bad reputation, but it's okay. It's still acceptable for Russia.
Okay, good. What do you think, Daniel?
Yeah, I think I'm with Heidi. Heidi's right. They are trying to persuade some countries to be in his team. I don't know.
Allies.
Yeah, allies. That's right.
I was reading an article, I think it was yesterday, and it talked about Russia has two allies, and this is kind of it's not new. It's something that's been said many years in the past, that Russia only ever has two allies it can count on. And can you guys, have you heard this saying?
No.
Okay. Which two allies do you think this saying might be referencing?
I don't know. China, maybe. I don't know.
Okay. Hyde, what do you think?
China and South Korea.
Well, okay. I don't know. Maybe. All right. Adriana, which two allies?
You know why? Venezuela, of course.
Okay, Venezuela. What do you think, Adriana?
I have no idea.
Well, it's a bit of a saying, and I heard it in an article, and Russia only has two allies it can always count on. Its Navy and its Army. Now, what do you think that statement says? If you were to analyze, what do you think is meant by that saying, that Russia can only ever depend on its two allies, its Navy and its Army?
Too powerful? No?
Well, it certainly indicates that the country has some military strength, but what else is it saying?
They are alone in their war, maybe.
They don't have a lot of friends.
Indeed, yeah. But actually in Venezuela here, there is a country next door to Colombia, and they have an air base with Russian army. So yeah, I think it's a pretty good ally for Russia.
Yeah, indeed. Well, it's interesting. It's interesting because I saw this article on what I thought. It reminds you of the Cold War days, 50, 40, 30 years ago. It's a very much a Cold War setting in a world that doesn't have a Cold War anymore. Russia and NATO may not get along, but there's no Cold War anymore. Or is there? Is there a Cold War between Russia and NATO?
No, I don't think so.
No. Is it friendly right now? Is NATO and Russia, are they getting along?
I don't know.
Hi, you seem to follow the news. What's going on between NATO and Russia right now?
Sure, Netherlands, the government got angry to Russia.
And is it because of this situation with the airplane being shot
Yeah.
down?
Yes, because
That's it?
I heard a pro-Russian group in Ukraine. They are very bad guys. As you know, after shut down the airplane, they store their cell phone or money from their pocket, dead people's pocket, like that. They are very bad people, not a real army. It's a
That would
kind
be
of
horrible if that was the case. Now, if we go back about 30 years, the United States shot down a passenger plane somewhere near the Middle East.
Which one?
So this is not the first time a military, has shot down a passenger plane.
But is it confirmed?
Oh yeah, no, the U.S. clearly shot down a passenger plane.
No, but I mean the Russian, the Malaysia airplane.
Well, Hyde says so. I honestly do not know. That's why I'm asking you guys, trying to engage you guys in the conversation, because I don't know.
Well, I don't know if that is confirmed or maybe just people trying to find out an answer. I don't know.
I did see one article where the United States shows us pictures of Russian, I guess, missile trucks and what looks to be one of them firing. And the U.S. claims that this is evidence that Russia shut down. Russia, not the separatists, but that Russia shut down the passenger plane. But I will remind you, when the U.S. did shoot down a passenger plane many years ago, they didn't apologize right away, and the U.S. just tried to get away from that whole issue. Many people were upset with the U.S. over that.
I heard about that missile, boom missile, maybe the name is like that. Then it not hit to the airplane. It went to the just under the cockpit. Suddenly it exploded. It's kind of touchy missile. Then the cockpit cut off from the airplane. At first they fell down. Even around that place, people fell down. Then other people said suddenly people fell down from the sky like that. After that, they checked cockpit. Cockpit on that part were like honeycomb, a lot of holes. So it's kind of evidence. The Russian boom missile had such things.
Yeah, a plane breaking up at that altitude, it's most likely that anybody who was on the plane at that point would have lost consciousness because of the rapid depressurization. At that altitude, you're likely to lose consciousness, which is what we would hope, because it would be a horrible way to go.
Yeah, that's right.
But what happened prior to this, guys? I think that NATO and Russia have been at odds for some time. It wasn't just this plane. Did something else happen? What about the Ukraine or Crimea? Did something happen there?
The airplane was shut down in Ukraine. How do you say that country?
Ukraine.
Ukraine, right. Was shut down there, right?
Yes, but I'm talking about something that happened many months prior to this.
I have no idea.
Does anybody remember hearing about the Crimea?
Yeah.
What happened there, Hyde?
There are many Russian soldiers get into that place, and then they fought with the Russian, Ukraine government. They hide their badge or some evidence from their military clothes, but it's clearly Russian army. Then suddenly they said that Crimea Peninsula people decided to be independent from Ukraine.
Okay. So yeah, when the Soviet Union broke down, I guess it was around 1989 to 1991, the Ukraine ended up as a separate nation and the Crimea as part of its territory. Now, some have argued that, well, that should have been part of Russia, it shouldn't have been part of the Ukraine. But either way, it looks as though Russia has gone in and taken control of the Crimea, and many believe that Russia now wants control of the Ukraine. And all that NATO has done is simply set out to put sanctions on and try and punish Russia, because nobody really has the appetite for war. Daniel, do you think this could end up with a larger war? Do you think there could be a war with NATO?
No, I don't think so.
That would be bad, wouldn't it?
Yeah, of course.
That'd be bad for everybody.
What is the most powerful country nowadays? China? Or
I would say anybody with nuclear weapons and an economy big enough to produce more.
yeah, that's right.
So the United States is still a very, very powerful country. They have a lot of nuclear weapons. They still have a large enough infrastructure. They've got 300 million people, so they can very easily convert their industrial might over in producing weapons, which is what helped the Allies win the Second World War. Russia is about just under half the size of the United States. It still has a significant number of nuclear weapons. We would never really want to see either of these two countries go to war against each other. It could prove very bad for the entire world.
Yeah, of course.
But China also has nuclear weapons, and China has a large country, could very easily mobilize. But China certainly doesn't seem crazy that they'd want to enter into a conflict, but you never know, right? So in the South China Sea, there are some tensions there. And guess what other superpower is right in the South China Sea right now? Daniel, what's the other superpower that's in the South China Sea right now?
I don't know. Another superpower?
It's only... Yes, I've named them already. Well, United States.
United States?
Yep. They've got a whole bunch of warships there, aircraft carriers. They're allies with the Philippines, Japan, and China's there. You've got a lot of countries very close by, and a conflict could easily start if by mistake.
Yeah, that's right.
What do you think, Hai? Do you think that's possible?
No, even Asia is very difficult. East China Sea, East China Sea, I know it's my place. Southern China Sea, there are many countries. They divide that sea water. Philippines and Vietnam, Indonesia, or some countries. But China wants to own that all the sea. So at first they snatched some island from Philippines, and next they worship 80 worship of China surrounded Vietnam's fisherman ship. They hit the fisherman's boat, then they collapsed, sank down. It's a starting of a problem between Vietnam and China.
Yeah, so again, when you've got a lot of countries and their military very close by, you have the potential for a conflict. Do either of you remember how the First World War got started?
First War?
Yeah, the First World War. How did it get started?
Hmm.
No? Well, one person got shot. It was an assassination, and it was a relatively small and insignificant country at the time, but because that country was allied with another larger country, which was allied with another larger country, and everybody on the other side was allied with the other country, that one shot led to a large war. So you've got Japan, you've got the Philippines, you've got South Korea, you've got a lot of countries in that area. Neither one has a really large military force, but because they're allied against the United States, if a conflict broke out between any one of those countries and China, then potentially you could have a larger conflict.
Japanese military is quite strong. We had a lot of airplane and warship, but because of a constitutional law, we can't fight with other countries.
Well, I'm not saying Japan's a weak country, but in terms of a superpower, you've got China, which has a huge amount of resources.
Yeah, if China or some country attacks to Japan, that time that fact we can fight with that countries under the name of protection. But we can't fight with the other countries.
No, but what I'm saying is the last thing we want to see is anything like that happen, right?
Mm-hmm. So we can do it. Japan is supporting Vietnam or Philippines, but we can't do send some warship in that place. So only thing we could do is to send just only protecting boat 10 warship boat to each country, not manpower.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, we'll see. I mean, I keep watching that news. I seem to be more interested in what's going on there than I am in what's going on in the Ukraine. I think it's pretty safe to say that if Russia decides to walk in and take the Ukraine, NATO isn't going to do anything about it, other than more sanctions. And really, if Russia's determined to take it, do they really care about sanctions?
Vietnam is a very strong country, you know. They won to America. They won to China. So they are proud of their military. But according to sea war, they are very weak. They don't have any ship so much.
No, but all I'm saying is if you had a wider conflict, it could work out badly for everybody involved. Let's face it, nobody ever wins a war. Even the victor is hurt, indebted. Nobody benefits in a war, not these days.
The technology.
Yeah, well, maybe here, the people who do benefit are the people who make the bombs, right?
Yeah,
the airplanes.
We are kind of slow right now.
Yeah, the industrial complex, but in terms of governments and citizens, no, nobody wins.
That's right, yeah, you're right. But if you look back at the history, the best development years were in war. The airplanes, everything, almost everything.
No, the first flight was before the First World War, but I know what you're saying. What you're saying is that, unfortunately, a lot of innovation is driven during the war.
Yep.
My own history, I know that England, coming into the Second World War, Churchill kept saying, we've got to defend ourselves against Germany. Germany keeps building planes. They've got 1/4 of the amount of planes that our Air Force has, the Royal Air Force. Then you say they've got half as many. Now they've got 3/4. Now they're on par with us. Now they have more than us. Now they have twice as much. And nobody would listen to him because Europe was tired of war from the First World War. They didn't want another one. But what they didn't realize is that Hitler was going to bring war. So when the war did come to our country, we had very little in terms of military strength. So we developed things such as radar. So when the Germans were sending their bombers over or fighters, radar would tell us where they're coming, and then we would send every single plane up at once. And it looked like we had this huge fighting force when it was really just everything we had. Sonar was developed in the Second World War. Computers really started to get their legs, or started in that war too. So many things happened, but there were millions of lives lost during that war.
Yeah.
With old technology, with today's technology, could you imagine what would happen?
Yeah, that's right.
We don't want that.
Not at all.
So going back to the story, what Adriana brought up is that Russia will have the World Cup in 2018.
Yeah, in Qatar in 2022.
Yeah, let's worry about 2018. What do you think is going to happen to Brazil in 2018?
To Brazil?
Yeah.
I don't know. They're gonna lose.
Well, let's hope not as bad this time.
They were so bad, actually.
Well, it was just that one match that things turned out pretty bad.
Also in the match versus versus the Colombian team, the team of my country. Yeah, it was pretty bad. Like 60 or 70 fouls.
Ooh.
Yeah, those guys are so bad. I don't know.
That's a lot.
Yeah, they were playing so dirty.
Well, yeah, so that's 4 years to rebuild. What about your plans for the weekend? Hyde, what are you doing this weekend?
Weekend? I don't have any plan for weekend.
Nice. Daniel?
Well, maybe I'm gonna watch a movie. I'm not sure.
Have you seen Divergent yet?
No, but actually I was interested on it. Is it good?
Yeah, it's good. Watch it.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, it's a long movie, but it's a good one. I might even watch it again tonight. Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, I was just checking the rating in IMDb. Not that good. But
Yeah, don't let that bother you. This is one of those movies that may have a low rating, but it's still a good story. It's not one of those movies where you watch it and go like, well, that sucked.
okay, I got it.
Now, Noah, I don't know about that one. I don't even know if it's out yet, but I've kind of watched some trailers of it, and I wonder.
Noah, the guy with the ship?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I never seen that. Yeah, but actually that's out of the theaters right now. It's a little bit old.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's on DVD. If Divergent's out, I would expect Noah to be out. Let's take a look and see, when is Noah coming out.
So you like Noah? What?
Oh, it's already out. It just came out.
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
No,
you mean the DVD?
Just 2 days ago.
DVD, Blu-ray, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, in IMDb is 6.1 out of 10, and Divergent is 7.1 out of 10.
Well, 7.1 is a high score.
Yep.
I wouldn't call that a low score.
Do you think that's a romance story, or sci-fi, or action, or adventure?
I'd say it's a sci-fi drama. Science fiction isn't what the story's really about. It's more about conflict between man and man. It's really, science fiction doesn't really stand out. It just sets the stage.
Okay. It's just about drama.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I would say.
Yeah.
Hyde, are there any movies you want to watch?
No.
You're pretty definite about that. No movies for you. All right, so we'll move off of the movie thing. Well, the weekend's coming up shortly. I actually do have another class tonight. What class do I have tonight? Let's see here. Classes. I think it's pronunciation. Yeah, pronunciation. And then tomorrow I have 2 classes. And 1 on Saturday. And then next week I'm back to more regular classes. And you guys will see me on here more often. And hopefully I'll be able to sit down again.
Yeah.
Apparently it takes a little while to heal.
How's the post-op? Pretty good?
Yeah. The hospital I was at, they're world-renowned. They have a very, very good program. So basically, most hospitals, they do the surgery and you're out that day. This hospital, they keep you for 3 more nights. Nurses come by and doctors come by and check on you every day. So they're able to reduce the chances of infections or complications. And of course, having a doctor that say, yeah, you're okay, it kind of helps with the anxiety. Of course, they feed you the proper nutrition. It's a beautiful, beautiful place. But yeah, people from all over go there. You got people from Costa Rica, U.S., Canada. My roommate was from Kentucky.
Nice.
So yeah, just a little bit of more healing to do, and then I'll be myself.
Hopefully you're gonna be better next week.
Each day I'm noticing a difference. I feel so much better today, but obviously I can't quite sit. But the day before I could only sit for about 5 or 10 minutes. Now I can go 25 minutes.
But actually your classes are you're always stood up now. You're always stand up.
I did before I had the surgery. Now that I've had the surgery, I don't know that I can necessarily stand either. So I gotta take it easy for a bit.
Okay, I got it.
All right, so I hope I get to see you guys in about an hour. If not, see you tomorrow or have a good weekend. But I will be back in 1 hour with a pronunciation class. And you know, Hyde, how you love those tongue twisters. All right, guys, take care, and thanks for joining my class this afternoon.
I'll see you.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye. Take care.